Greetings, welcome to the Mount Rushmore podcast. My name is Jeff, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friends Richard.
Hello.
And Michael.
Howdy.
Richard and Michael this week are going to debate and deliberate the Mount Rushmore of a large wooden shipping crate in pop culture.
We almost made it. We almost made it through it without cracking up.
Yeah. This was my choice, and I am fascinated with tropes in cinema and storytelling, and I remember as a kid seeing in the Warner Brothers cartoons a large wooden shipping crate would show up, and often it had some words spray painted on the side in the Cooper font, and often coming out of that would be something crazy or insane that would send everyone into a chaotic scramble. But not just in cartoons, in films and videos and other storytelling. And it usually is a fun portent of something that will set the plot into motion. So I thought it'd be fun to discuss that. And I guess I'll see from your choices whether you had fun with it or not. So why don't we start with Michael Winfield?
Okay, well, I'm guessing this is going to be on everybody's list. It was the first one that I thought of, and I think it's the best one no matter what. It's the wooden shipping crate that contained the Ark of the Covenant in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Obviously also on my list.
Yeah.
I like that this was contained in a wooden crate twice in a movie. Not only, I think the most famous aspect of it is when it's kind of bolted up at the end with the words "Top Secret Army Intel" spray painted on it. It says "Do not open." But also when the Nazis crated that bad boy up and spray painted their eagle and swastika on there, and then the Ark wasn't going to take that shit and burn that right off. And I just love that, doesn't matter what side of the war you fall on, you're using a large wooden shipping crate to contain one of the most amazing archaeological discoveries in the history of the world.
Yeah.
The power of God can't be contained by wood, or can be, I guess.
Richard, what was interesting to it? Its ubiquity, its imprint on pop culture from that film?
I actually have on here, it's slightly different. It's the Raiders of the Lost Ark crates, plural.
Mm. Oh,
and
okay.
I specifically was thinking of the final shot of the movie after the Ark has after it's been crated up and sent back to wherever it is.
Oh yeah.
Area 51, Washington D.C. Where exactly it is a little unclear. But it's just then being taken and put into this vast, looks like literally square miles of warehouse space with shipping crates, wooden shipping crates that are matching with God knows what antiquities and magical items that are encased within. And it just made me wonder, who had the contract for that from the government? Because look at how many wooden crates those are. That is in 1940s time. That must have been billions of dollars of crates. Just the crates themselves, not even counting the stuff that's inside of them. Whoever got that contract, that I'm guessing there was some graft that went into the wooden crate contract, the GAO order that went into that. And I think it's an incredible visual, this idea that all of these wonders of the world are just being stored in the most basic wooden crates you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, slap a serial number on it and house it away to never be unboxed again. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Unless you're a crystal skull,
That is Michael brings up a good point here in that many people out on the crowdsource, I did reach out onto our Facebook page for answers, suggestions from some of the fine folks who listen to the Mount Rushmore podcast. And that was one of the top responses was Indiana Jones. But then some sharp-eyed viewers, listeners also followed up to say that it was in many of the other series in Crystal Skull, and there was another viewer. This is going to be the thing where I note to Jeff, cut this out. Also in Anderson Dadu, who suggested the Indiana Jones, also said Last Crusade when they bust out of the crate on the motorcycle with the sidecar. And I think there are many other crate scenes in the Indiana Jones quadrilogy. And I'm going to shuffle down to find them.
Are you suggesting, Jeff, that Steven Spielberg has a crate fetish?
Yeah. Nazis, monsters, crates. I think
the big three for Spielberg.
The big three for Spielberg. Yeah, there's a lot of crates in that series. Of course, it's about artifacts, and of course, it's of a certain era, and there's a lot of scenes where people are shipping off from one thing to another. But yeah, so that's a fun first choice. What I love about that is, like yourself, Richard, I think of the ending shot in which, at the end of each of this guy's adventures, this Indiana Jones character, who is based on a kind of a serialized adventure hero, all of the action and all of the mysteries and all of the things he's put blood, sweat, and tears into capturing are relinquished off into anonymity, and they get boxed up and they get put away. And we know there's another episode. And from that shot, too, so it's really kind of opening with a closer for me. In that shot also, you kind of wonder, what other mysteries lurk inside this warehouse? Is it just Genghis Khan's wooden teeth, or is it other supernatural artifacts and things like that on par with it? So, yeah, cool first choice. What do you got, Manfredi?
All right, my second choice is in the cartoon category, as you mentioned. It is Wile E. Coyote's various Acme Industries crates.
That's also on my list too.
Oh, is
wow.
It?
Oh, yeah.
Good. When you're watching a Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner cartoon, at some point certain things will happen. He is going to fall off of a cliff and not realize he's fallen off the cliff for a few seconds, and then wave bye-bye, maybe hold up a sign.
Yeah. A pre-made sign that says "Yikes."
Yes, something like that. Or maybe he has to write it really hastily. Sometimes he has to do that.
Yeah.
And another thing that will happen is he will receive a shipment from Acme Industries, and it will come in the big generic crate. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the crate will tell you exactly what it is that is inside of the crate, so you know automatically, oh, this is a Roadrunner trap, or an anvil slingshot, or whatever, rocket shoes, rocket roller skates, whatever they happen to be. And, I know I'm not treading in new ground here, but at some point, wasn't there a competitor to Acme Industries? There had to have been, right?
Oh, I don't know.
There must have been. I mean, there couldn't have been just one company making these, I don't know what you would call them, weapons of singular destruction instead of mass destruction.
Yeah, it does seem like there is a place in the market for a quality competitor.
Yeah, it seems like there's some sort of quality control that is not happening at Acme. But it also raises the question, how are these getting delivered? Because Wile E. Coyote doesn't seem to have a fixed address. It's not like he has a house out in the middle of the desert or a P.O. box or something like that.
Oh, they don't ship to a P.O. box. No way.
Not with a crate that big.
No way. Can't get inside. Chuck Jones actually had 9 rules for Wile E. Coyote cartoons. And one of them was that, hold on, I'm reading it real quick. Okay, he had two of the 9 rules were based on Acme products. Rule number 2, no outside force can harm the coyote, only his own ineptitude or the failure of the Acme product. And then also, let's see, it was rule number 7, all materials, tools, weapons, or mechanical conveniences must be obtained from the Acme Corporation. So they did have the monopoly, and it was, I guess they were all the other shipping companies and novelty companies or novelty contraptions were in maybe the Disney universe. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Does that lend an existential? Obviously, there's a lot of this is Coyote and Roadrunner might as well be Bertolt Brecht or Samuel Beckett waiting for Godot, because they are in a place where the environment never changes, they never age. I mean, it is true of cartoons. There's never anything coming from the outside. So what is reality, and then what is real? Is the Acme company even a viable company, or is all these things actually in his mind? Because the result is the same at the end of all of that. Do we want to wax existential about that?
I mean, I imagine that they lose so much money.
Yeah.
On Wile E. Coyote, because he doesn't seem to have an income.
Yeah, what is he paying with? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I go ahead.
I was going to ask, does he try to return these items after they fail? Like, what's the return policy of Acme Industries? I'm guessing it's not great.
I did compile a list. I watched a compilation video of all of the different products that he's received from Acme, and then I broke that down and compiled just a list of the ones that came in large wooden shipping crates.
Nice.
So here is a list: a dog sled and 12 92-pound dogs, dynamite, a bomb, balloon, and basket, practice bombs, do-it-yourself rocket sled and 30 miles of track, jet motor, jet-propelled unicycle, outboard motor, do-it-yourself tornado, indestructible steel ball, snow machine, and a 500-pound anvil, street cleaner wagon, and weather balloon. They're versatile, if anything, you know. If you want something, you can get it from Acme.
Yeah. We'll thank Justin Kosh, who submitted Wile E. Coyote and Acme products as a suggestion. So he agrees with you guys. So I guess with that, gentlemen, we have rocketed on our rocket skates most quickly to the halftime than we ever have before, because you both picked that. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start to head through the tunnel of.
We're halfway to the end of the series, as we know.
Yeah, we are. So let's head toward the apparent tunnel in the side of the desert mesa, which was painted somehow with one can that had multiple colors of paint inside of it. And give the halftime spiel, which is just to engage you, the audience, to engage with us a little bit more. Go out on the social media pages and suggest new topics. Previous suggestors have ended up being guests on this podcast, which is always fun. And then do us a solid download, rate, and review past episodes. We would love any stars you have sitting around your place you want to give to us. 1, 2, 3, 20, and then let us know any specific episodes or comments you might have. That would be super cool. And the biggest thing you could do would be to share it with your buddies. If you know people who still listen to podcasts now that the world has ended, you don't have a commute, you don't have to go anywhere in your car, let them know about ours. That would be super cool. All right, dude. So what's so interesting about a wooden crate anyhow? When I suggested this, what was the reason that you said, yeah, okay?
Well, I just I think I replied back, abso-fucking-lutely. This is just in the wheelhouse of things that should be, like, if our goal is to cover everything,
yeah,
we got to cover the ones that are seemingly mundane. And I like that, you know, just because it's a wooden box on the outside, what are the treasures that are inside? And I think that's ultimately it's an encapsulation of what our podcast feels like sometimes, where it doesn't matter how singular or boring a topic title can be. It's all the other ooey gooey stuff inside.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Personally, that's
yes.
You know, and I also think that some of our best episodes are the ones where they're just like, okay, Mount Rushmore of jackets or Mount Rushmore of horses. Yeah, where it's just like, where is this going to go?
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. All right, then I guess it would be Michael sharing his third.
Okay, my third choice is from A Christmas Story. It's the major award, the leg lamp that arrives at the old man's house inside a giant wooden crate that says fragile.
Fragile, Michael.
Fragile, I'm sorry, yes, and this end up on it. And
this is, by the way, also on my list.
Wow, we are close to pasta shapes.
We are. Just so you guys, for those of you who don't know, we have always said that if Michael and I agree on all four choices, that we will immediately we will declare an end to the podcast.
That's right.
Do one more episode on pasta shapes, and then right off
that's
the
it.
sunset.
Then we're good. Well, okay. Well, that's scary. I never thought we'd get there. We're not there.
It was the most popular one out on the crowdsource too. Multiple people talked about this, and I can see that in that this film, at least during 1 month out of the year, is played 24 hours a day on channels that are solely dedicated to it. But you know what is interesting is there were very few comedies, much less holiday family comedies, that involved this trope. A lot of them were adventure films or genre films or mysteries. So it's an interesting thing to have in that. And it does bring something mysterious to this guy. It, in a way, and I know I want to hear more about why you chose this, but is the wooden crate, before it is opened, unless you know what's inside of it, it is a mirror and a lens to see your innermost thoughts. And this guy who is Darren McGavin, I forget who the performer is.
McGavin.
Yeah, is not in this film allowed to really relish in his ego or narcissism or dreams, or have been dashed for this guy so long ago. So yeah, how would you describe his reaction when it arrives?
Well, I love the idea that he is trying to guess at what could be inside this wooden crate.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the guesses he comes up with, including a bowling alley. It's just spectacular. And them trying to figure out, how can they send a whole bowling alley?
Yeah.
It's just, the idea of the wooden crate, as you said, is this sort of all-encompassing mystery containment item.
Oh, yeah.
Literally anything with the size of it, you kind of have to, it just leads you to all of these, like, this incredible avenue of possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, for the old man who, throughout the rest of the movie, is basically just getting kicked in the nuts over and over again.
Yeah.
Or more literally getting a bowling ball dropped on his nuts. This is like...
he gets his bowling ball, yeah.
Yeah, this is literally his moment in the sun. And the beauty of this leg lamp is something that is beyond even his wildest dreams and expectations of what could be inside this crate. And I just love the visual of him trying to pry this thing open with a crowbar.
Yeah.
Is just brilliant.
What I love about it is this is his Christmas day. The kids get their actual Christmas day where they're running down the stairs and tearing into their Christmas presents, and he's running a Zeppelin all over the floor, and all they're so excited. This is as excited as he is ever going to be in his entire life, and with literally jumping into the box itself and throwing straw and packing material around and crowbarring it open. It's him opening his Christmas present. It just came 2 weeks before the actual Christmas day.
Manfredi.
Oh boy. Okay.
Wow.
I have thought about. I thought about trying to pull an audible here and go with something really obscure just for the sake of the show.
Mm-mm.
But no, we need to go pure on this.
Mm.
And if it happens, it happens. So my last choice is Game of Thrones.
Oh.
Tyrion Lannister is shipped to Varys, or with Varys, by Jaime Lannister in a box.
Oh,
on a boat.
What an excellent choice, Richard. It is not on my list.
Oh, thank God.
The show goes on.
Oh, thank God. No, the thing I love about it is when they get to their landing place, and Varys like crowbars him out of it. And the first thing that Tyrion does is complain about having to push his own, I think his line is, push his own shit through one of the small breathing holes. And it just makes me think about you think of the trope of someone shipping themselves to some place.
Yeah.
Things that a thing that has happened in real life. So it's not necessarily just a TV or film cliche, but something that has, I know there's a very famous story about a slave who shipped himself to abolitionists in the North during the just before the Civil War and managed to escape slavery that way. And Tyrion's journey just sort of makes you realize that would be freaking-lutely miserable. What a terrible thing to have to do. And he's tiny. He's a small guy. If you're a normal-sized guy in one of those boxes, it'd be even worse. And just the mechanics of, like, yeah, what do you do when you have to take a leak? What do you do when you have to take a dump? What do you do, what would it be like when you first get out and your legs, you've been, if my legs fall asleep at being in a sitting crisscross applesauce for a half hour, I can't imagine what being crunched up in a box for several days or a week would be like. Just absolutely miserable. And I think the way Game of Thrones showed Tyrion immediately after getting out and sort of his annoyance with the whole thing, even though this was done as a way to save him from his own execution, I think is very, very realistic to me. Because even though intellectually you would know, hey, this was the only way that I could survive, and thank God that they did this, when you first get out, all you want to do is bitch about it.
Yeah, that's a fun choice. Our friend Sam, who goes by Samuel Sammers out on Facebook, probably because he doesn't want to share her real name, suggested that one, and I was not familiar with it, but it does seem both humiliating, but also gives him a new lease on life. But,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would be horrifying. Okay, Winfield.
My last choice is going to make Richard absolutely terrifyingly angry at me, but I don't care. I don't care. It is the Trojan horse from Greek mythology, and I guess if you want to put it in a pop culture context, let's say the movie Troy.
Sure.
Where, it's made of wood. It's technically made out of shipping wood. It's made out of a ship. It contains things. It traveled a long way, and
Okay.
Jeff, I'm going to let you. I'm not even going to say anything about this one. I'm going to let you be the judge of this.
Well, good. He's the judge. He doesn't even have to. He doesn't have to grant me the points, but I can, argue my case.
Okay.
And if I'm laughed out of, His Majesty's courtroom, so
every court needs a jester, Michael.
That's right. And I am that.
That's a unique way
jester
of
guy.
At it. Yeah.
So what do you think is interesting or intriguing or whatever about the Trojan horse?
Well, it's wood. It's a horse.
Did you run out of ideas, Michael?
Technically, when I realized that when Garfield always threatened to ship Nirmal to Abu Dhabi, and then all of the images that I looked up did not have anything to do with a shipping crate, and they're all like a small wooden box or like a shoe box with holes poked in it. Speaking of things being live animals being shipped someplace, I immediately started trying to scramble to think of something that would be different, I guess, but also contained people. Yeah, I thought your Tyrion choice was excellent, Richard.
Yeah, thank you.
The same basic concept, but Trojan horse. It was this big wooden container that the Trojans brought into their city. People argued not to bring it in, thinking that it was a trick, and those people were killed by, I think Poseidon sent like asps to kill them, the people that foretold that it would be the doom of the Trojans. and it was a good trick. Everyone loves a good trick. I don't know. I grasp me at straws here, but at least it's made out of wood.
There was a Simpsons episode that had them getting shipped in a wooden box. You could have done that, Michael.
I can't believe there wasn't a Royal Rumble or something where somebody shows up in a wooden crate that you guys did pull out.
Was the gobbledygooker he was in an egg, not a crate, so that doesn't count.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was a Three Stooges episode.
Oh, absolutely.
That involved a wooden crate at some point.
Yeah. I'm going to read some of the crowd sources, and there were some really great suggestions. Leslie Seiler was the first person to suggest Raiders. Bradley Gilbo was the first person to suggest the Christmas Story crate. Josh Carson's Short Circuit 2. What We Do in the Shadows. Now, that's a good pull, I think, even though it's a coffin.
Oh, yeah.
I think. Well, I guess they do live in the crates. They ship themselves in the crates.
I believe that what's his name that was
Peter
sent across the sea? Not Peter, but whoever was sent across the sea. The one that's played by Taika Waititi. How it went? It took too long to get there.
Yeah.
He sent like second class post or something. Yeah.
Both Christy Patterson Veach and Howard Aronin said several episodes of Gilligan's Island. I think that might have been the second place I saw that as a kid. Great comment from Brian Scolaro. In fact, two Brians suggested Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, stand-up comic.
That's incredible. That's a great pick.
And then he even went on to say that even though I recall us discussing this in the Mount Rushmore horror comedy, I think, this film, and he did comment that he had heard that film was what made Tarantino get into directing. So that shows the versatility of this trope. It can be in comedy or horror, this thing. Right. Lilith Barbarian suggested in Friends when Joey makes Chandler sit in the box to think about what he'd done.
No, I'm not going to support Friends. I'd rather go with the Trojan horse than do anything.
Dumbo drop the Green Acres episode, The Thing. Now this suggestion from Jeffrey Schwartz is our audio clip of the week, so we're going to play that right now.
Okay, so Jeff, this is the other Jeff. This is why I selected Green Acres, that particular episode, because it was so funny that Lisa got Oliver a gift. It was a bird bath, but it came in this big crate, and they needed help, so they got the Monroe brothers to open up the crate, and of course the Monroe brothers had to check their books to see what the rate was, the crate rate, and then they said, no, the state. Yeah, we have to follow a state freight crate rate. And of course they open up the crate and then something goofy is inside, obviously. That's why I chose that Green Acres episode.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for suggesting that episode of Green Acres. That's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Creepshow The Crate was suggested by Todd Norris. And I have to say that this was one that immediately came up in my mind. Because
not familiar with it because I'm not a horror person. So
yeah, of the different anthology series, the horror anthology has kind of transmuted from EC Comics to Stephen King through Creepshow. Essentially, a big crate shows up at the biology department of a big university, and there's a downtrodden, henpecked guy who ends up throwing his wife into the crate to be victimized by the thing that's inside of it. So great movie. And Jamie Mallory backed that one up. Madagascar from Ricky Rosales. A couple folks suggested The Toy with Richard Pryor. Josh Boltinghouse suggested that. So there were a couple other people. And our good friend Paul Lurie said, don't sleep on the live-action Dora the Explorer movie.
No, I'll sleep on it. Thanks, Paul, but I'll sleep on it.
Spoiler, she's in the crate. Super cool. So I want to thank all the people who were kind enough to go out and suggest on our crowdsource the different places where a giant shipping crate. Janet Campbell said there's a whole series called Shipping Wars that is based on this. So, yeah. Okay, so dudes, this is going to be pretty easy since 3 out of 4 were the same. So I'm going to say a Trojan horse is not a container, but people perceived it to be a gift unto itself. They did not know that it was a container. So Richard is the winner because you guys picked all 3 of the same, plus Game of Thrones. So this has to be a record for one of our episodes, I think.
It's been a while since we've cruised through one like this.
Yeah.
So the good news is you guys have enough time now to listen to a second episode of ours.
Yeah.
Or at least part of one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so this has been the Mount Rushmore podcast. My name, as always, is Jeff.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.